Hey, all right, guys. Welcome back to the channel. This is your boy, AG Chuck, or AG the car guy. Whichever one you know me um, for. Today, we got a new repair. This is a big repair. This is the first time attempting to do this. I mean, I'm familiar with the Hyundai engines, mostly the four-cylinder engines. But today, we have a new project here, and that is rebuilding this 2014 Hyundai Santa Fe engine. Okay, so I took out this engine because it was making a noise while it's running. It was a knocking noise coming from the bottom of the engine. You hear that? That's the sound of a dying horse. It had a messed up crank bearing, and the crankshaft was all worn out. So that's the common issue with this Kia. So this one obviously had that big problem. I had this engine sent to Walmart. That's the engine shop we use over here. So they went ahead and redid the crank. They grinded the crank and made it smoother. Instead of me buying a new crankshaft, they grinded down the crank and they gave me a new bearings. Okay, so I think this is .50. So they bored it out. Even since when they grinded it down, now it needs a bigger bearing to fill up the clearance. So they gave me the new this is the rod bearings. Okay, so that's what we have here. So I'm about to start today. I'm planning on hopefully getting this engine done by today is Tuesday, so I'm hoping to get it done by Thursday so I can go ahead and start dropping it into the vehicle. I want to have it ready and running Friday. So without further ado, I'm going to uncover this. Okay, covering our engine. Good thing I had it covered. This prevented a lot of dust from going inside the engine. So I have a bare bottom engine here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna go ahead and get my air gun and I'm gonna blow out, because being at the machine shop, sometimes they don't get all the metal shavings out. So it's up to me. They might have, but for my own peace of mind, I'm gonna go ahead and blow it all out with an air gun. Make sure there's no metal shavings before we, get started with the job. Okay. All right. Welcome, guys. Welcome, everybody who care to join us today. So today we are doing engine rebuild on this 2014 Hyundai Santa Fe. So this is me building the engine. So we are starting from the bottom. Assembling a piston rings and piston to the piston rods. Okay, this is what we're doing. So this is called, if you don't know, this is a rod bearing, okay, or a crank bearing, or not a crank bearing, but a connecting rod. My bad. It's a connecting rod that connects the piston to the crankshaft and pumps out the power your car makes. Okay, so this here is the piston. This is the piston retaining pin. This is what holds the piston to the rod. So this is our pin. This is our piston. And you cannot just install this if you're just joining us. You don't just install this anyway. There is a direction. Guys, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. I hope you guys are liking the video as you joining in. We are doing live engine build. I haven't done this in a while. Did it before on a car, so I'm doing it. This is even deeper, so because we're building from the ground up, from the crank. So right now I'm assembling my pistons. Okay, there's a piston rings, piston pin, and we're gonna insert it this side. I'm gonna wiggle it, go right in, wiggle it. Just gotta wiggle it, keep wiggling it. It's going through. Just sometimes it catches some. You gotta go in exactly straight. And I'm using the plastic part just to tap it in so it don't damage anything. Don't use metal to do this. It will damage your piston. So make sure the orientation is correct. Okay. Now we have a retainer pin. Okay. So I'm gonna install the retainer pin on each direction. Each front of this piston using my finger and a screwdriver. Make sure I will hold my hand above this retainer pin at all time, because if it doesn't, it's under pressure while you are installing it. If you let it go, it can fly off, and chances are finding another one, because it's exactly how many in here is exactly how many you need to finish the 6 pistons. If you lose it, I don't think you can get it by itself. Might have to get one from the old piston, but it might not be as good as this. By the time. All right. So there we go. We have to install the piston rings. So the schematic to install the piston ring is right here. So we have the coil spring, the oil ring, ring 2, ring 1. So we're gonna install it in the order is axis 4, which is this faces the front of the vehicle, which is me. It's facing me. So we're gonna start with the bottom ring, the bottom oil ring. This is it. It has different rings inside. This one has an opening. So when you install this, the openings has to be facing the direction that is displayed right here. Okay. This particular one doesn't actually show, but if you pull it apart, you see it has a space. It has an opening right here, held together by a string. So we're gonna open it just a little bit, so it will help us in installation. So this is the core spring. The core spring, if this is facing this way, the core spring should be somewhere here. Okay. So we're gonna place the core spring at this side of the piston. And we're gonna close it in as it's here. See, closed in nicely. Make sure we keep the position. Keep the position. Okay. Now we put this. This is going to go over the spring we just installed, but the opening is going to be facing directly across. This is here. This is going to be going that way. So we're going to install this facing that way. The adjacent opening. This is for, you know, maybe people that with cars, car guys will, you know, follow what I'm saying. People that are not car people, you know, y'all can, you know, watch and learn, you know, watch and learn. Class is in section. Doing this live. So we tell you we are not scared to show our work. I'm not scared to show my work at EJI Motoring. Our work is legit. Okay? Gotta make sure this is sitting directly above make sure it's sitting directly above. Just making sure that my ring position is correct. And it's correct. You can see it's sitting directly above the ring, the spring that I installed. So now we're going to the second ring, oil control at the top. And this called second ring would be adjacent from my dot. So if my dot is here, my second ring, and while installing it, make sure the dotted line, the mark number, the DOT number is facing upwards. Okay, it's not DOT, but I'm just calling it a DOT. Now that's the coded number. Make sure it's facing up. Installing it facing that direction. So each ring opening is facing different direction because they need to be in that position to control the scraping of the oil in the cylinder walls as the piston is going up and down. There is under here, there's nothing but the oil from the oil pan shooting up as the engine is running. Okay, and it needs to do that to lubricate this whole area and cool this piston down. At the same time, we cannot allow this oil to now go into the cylinder. So this here compresses, you see it's oversized. Okay, it's oversized for a reason. When you install it into the cylinder, this oversize creates a barrier between the cylinder and the piston, and keeps the oil from passing this area and going above the combustion chamber. And it also prevents the combustion chamber gas from also penetrating and entering into the crankcase, which is the oil pan. This is the job of these rings, and you have different stages to control it. This part controls the oil because it needs oil to flow through here and go through this pin. While it's moving, this pin is constantly moving in fast speed and a lot of heat, so it needs that oil to lubricate it. And this part keeps the combustion gas from coming down and passing and going into the crankcase. So that's why we do it like this. Now I'm going to install the last one, which is the top ring. So we have our top ring here, and we're going to check where the marking is, and the marking is on this side. So this will face up and it will face this side, and then we're going to install it, and that's it. Okay, that's done. So we have a fully assembled piston. Okay, there you go. welcome back to the engine build. Well, this is the piston that we built yesterday, and we connected it, we installed it to the rod, and also installed the piston rings and everything. So they're all fully assembled. So today, our job is now to install these pistons in the cylinder. So we have 6 of them. Okay, so this is a Hyundai engine. These Hyundais have a lot of problem with their crank. The crank bearing is a known problem that Hyundai knows, but they pick and choose who gets the warranty build. So I got tired of dealing with them, so I decided to tackle this and also learn. And the 4 cylinders. This is my first V6 engine that I'm building, so I'm about to go ahead and get started. And without further ado, and we're gonna start installing the pistons into the cylinder. Okay, if you guys are joining, don't forget to like, don't forget to touch that screen in your support. I appreciate it. Okay, all right, this Hyundai is a V6 and it has a left and a right, so you can just install any of these pistons on this. As you can see, there's a left and there's a right. So if I'm standing in front of the engine, this will be right and this will be left. So there is a left and a right, and you can see it imprinted on the left on the piston itself. So because of the shape of this valve here and the compression of the cylinder, this needs to be positioned in the right place, and this dot needs to be facing the direction of the engine, which is the timing, which is the front of the engine. So that dot needs to be facing this way. So that's how we're gonna go with that installation. So this one I'm gonna put here. This one is gonna go. Okay. So first thing first, I'm gonna open this up and I'm gonna install the rod bearings. Okay. On there. We're gonna need assembly oil. We need also a clean engine oil. So I'm gonna take a few engine oil and I'm going to go ahead and rub down these cylinders. You don't rush this thing. Take your time as much as you need. These are the jobs you don't want to be doing twice. So take your time. So this is my universal piston ring compressor. That's what I use all the time. Kind of a hit here to kind of expand it. The pistons. So this is the connecting rod bearings. And this engine was the crank was bored out a little bit bigger than the original because of course the crank had an issue. So I had to grind it down, get a better a smoother surface other than saving money from buying a whole new crankshaft. So usually when these engine bearings wear out, which is the crank bearing on these Hyundais, it completely damages the crankshaft journal where this connecting rod rides on. So I'm installing the new oversized bearings. So this is what it is. This is what the crank rides on. You have to recommend adding some little bit of assembly oil. I'm going to add it on the other side as well. No need for you to add it on the crank because this is enough to lubricate. You just need enough oil when this vehicle, when I start the engine at a full start, it has enough lubrication without tearing down or tearing up, things. So now, like I said before, this engine has left and right, so you can't just install the piston anywhere you want. There's a left and there's a right. So turning on the crank to go all the way down. So my piston has my connecting rod has room to travel without hitting something on the crank. Okay. So I have my ring compressor. Need to open it up more. With my ring compressor. Tighten it down as much as we can. Tighten it all the way down. Make sure you're straight in there. Normally push it all the way down till the bottom sticks out. And that way we have an entry point. Like I had some gap on this side here. There's some oil jets in there, so make sure you're not hitting the oil jets. And that's it. It's in. So now that it's in, I'm gonna kind of turn the engine a little bit like this, and that way it gives me a little bit of a view, as you guys can see. So it comes in through here. To make it easier on myself, I'm gonna position this crank on this way, and then I'm gonna just push it in, gonna guide it. It's on the crank. The other cap. Making sure we are facing the direction we need. The way I know where it needs to face is this dot here. It needs to be facing the front of the engine. So in that way I know I'm on the right track. I'm on the right position. So just go here, go ahead and install this. Run it down a little gently, side by side. Kind of snug it down. Don't go crazy with this. Just snug it down. We're going to torque it to to specification. Okay. So now we turn it. You can see. Let me turn it for you guys so you can kind of see what we're working on here. That's it. Piston is turning like it should. Nice, smooth. Smooth. Well, I'm not gonna torque it down. I'm gonna install everything, then I flip it over and torque everything at the same time. In that way, we're doing one single thing at a time. We don't forget, have I torqued this? I haven't. We're gonna put it all, snug it down, then we're gonna flip it and we're gonna torque it all down. Okay? So guys, I'm gonna do all left. I'm gonna go from this side so you guys will see me going in. Rotation test. All 6 are in and rotating smoothly. Okay. Now I'm going to completely flip it the other way. Alright, I got them where I want them. Now we're torquing everything down. Okay. Position. You can't get them all at once. Just position a few. I got about 3 of them in good position where I can torque them. Then I'm gonna turn it a little bit and torque the other 3. Here is the torque wrench. So now we need to torque this down to 23 foot-pound. Then a second pass is 72 degrees. So we're gonna do a first pass of 23 foot-pound, and then we do 72 degrees. It's 62 to 72 degrees, anywhere in between that. So right now I'm gonna set my torque to. There we go. There we go. So we got it done, and now we're going to 72 degrees. So I'm gonna set my gauge here to set my degree. All right, I'll set it to 72 degrees. Even I'm putting it at the maximum torque level. Okay, because most of these bolts are new, so it can handle it. All right, so I'm gonna go 75 degrees. The paint mark with one here, one there. You go from here, come down here, that's 90 degrees. That's easy. Problem is when you start doing over 90 degree, 45, 75, 72, or 100 and something degree, that's when you start running into issues. But this makes it easy. You can go, come back, go, come back, keeps your degree. It's digital, so and it's a torque wrench too. So 2-in-1. So we got everything torqued down. Now I'm gonna turn it over and we're going to rotate it one more time for the last time. Go. Rotation mode. All right, everything is good to go, my friends. Good to go. So I'm gonna put it on number 1, top dead center. Gonna mark it now that I can see it right at top dead center.